Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Malaysians on the Move. Today, I have with me Tasha, who I found on Instagram. And Tasha is talking to us all the way from the United States. She's based in California. And Tasha's my first Chindian guest. And as a Malaysian, we all know that our Chindian brothers and sisters are very beloved. And I'm very, very excited to have her on. So, everybody, please welcome Tasha. Tasha, thank you for being here.
Hi, Yoshni, thank you so much for having me. When you first texted me through your page, Malaysians on the Move, I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" And then I clicked into it, and I saw that you interview all other Malaysians who are living, either studying or working abroad. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm really happy that there's someone doing this because me as a Malaysian living out here, I've been out here for like 4 years now, and in the first 3 years of being here, I literally met like less than five other Malaysian people. So I think as maybe in the US, I'm not sure, maybe there's not so much of a Malaysian population compared to maybe like Australia or UK. But last year I actually got connected to more Malaysians, like, and I could attend more of the events that they held, and I was like, oh, there's actually so many of us here, and it was really nice to have that moment to connect because, it's just familiar faces, familiar food, familiar way of speaking, and yeah, so I'm happy to be discovering more and more Malaysians as I'm living abroad.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, my goal for doing this podcast was really just to meet more Malaysians, to learn about their journey and, what really makes us want to leave and move abroad, whether for opportunities or just to try something out. So yeah, having said that, I would love to know how specifically you chose to study in the United States. Spoiler alert, you are a professional volleyball player. So if you want to also share more about growing up and playing volleyball, I would love to learn more.
Yeah, I want to correct you there. I'm not, so professional means that you earn money from playing your sport. I'm not at that
Oh,
level yet. I play for my national team and I played for Division 1 NCAA college, but I wouldn't consider myself professional because you actually, when you're a professional means that you earn a living out. No, it's okay. A lot of people also make that mistake, but yeah, so um when I was really young, I would say like about 10 years old, I already had this vision in my head that I wanted to come to the US to study. Till this day, I don't know
oh,
how or where this idea came from, but I can definitely tell you that it came at a very young age. And I always knew at the back of my mind that I wanted to study in the US. So then when I finished secondary school, I wanted to take a gap year because I was just so
oh,
done with studying and I was like, working really hard for SPM and I went to Bukit Jalil Sports School. So I just wanted to take like a year
okay.
off. Yeah, take a year off and, discover other things. At that time, so you mentioned about my volleyball background. So I played volleyball since I was 10 years old, and I was lucky enough to be able to go to Bukit Jalil Sports School to pursue indoor volleyball. And when I was 16 years old, I got a chance to be on the national team, the senior national team, and we played
Wow.
in the 2017 SEA Games in KL. I learned a lot about Malaysian sports, especially on the national team level. And of course, like I'm forever grateful to be able to represent Malaysia. Like that's always such an honor for me. But I think it opened my eyes to a lot of the difficulties of being on the national team as well. And in my heart, I was like,
Yeah.
man, like I want to play volleyball. I want to represent my country, but I don't think that there is a future for me here. So I still had one more year left at Bukit Jalil Sports School, but I was like, I
Yeah.
think after I finish playing at BJ, like I don't want to pursue volleyball anymore. And that's what kind of led to the gap year as well. Just kind of take time to figure things out, what I want to do in life. And it so happened that during that gap year, the universe was like, you're not done with volleyball yet. Because my coach from my primary school, he called me up and he was like, hey, we're sending a beach volleyball team to the Southeast Asian Games this year, so 2019. and he asked me if I wanted
Okay.
to be a part of it. And at first I was very hesitant. I was like, no, I really, I'm done with playing volleyball. Like, I don't want to play volleyball anymore. But he tried to convince me. He was like, beach volleyball is quite different from indoor volleyball. Indoor volleyball, you have like 12 people on a team, it's a big dynamic. And beach volleyball, it's just 2 to 4 people. And the vibes are just different because you're outdoors, you're in the sun, you're happy, there's music playing, and it's just a different game. It's just a different vibe. So he really tried to convince me, and I was like, all right, like I'll try it out. I'll go for the tryout session and see how it goes. So then went for the tryouts, and obviously I loved it because I still love volleyball. It was more about the prospect that we weren't able to go far in the sport that made me really sad. But volleyball itself, like I loved it so much. So when this beach volleyball opportunity came, I was like, oh, cool. I actually do love it. So I talked to my mom and she was like, if you want to do this, like you have to give it your best. So for that whole year, the gap year, what ended up happening was that I ended up training full time for beach volleyball for the national team. So it was during this time where I learned that the US has a whole system of college sports where it's very organized and they play at a very high
Yeah.
level. So then that year, while I was prepping for the SEA Games, I was also prepping my future of coming to the States and playing beach volleyball. What I did was that I got my SAT scores, I got my TOEFL score, all the standard, academic stuff. But then on the sports side, I literally emailed every beach volleyball program I could find, sent out an email to all the coaches, and basically told them my story, like who I am,
Wow.
where I played, and why I want to come to the States to play and to study. So then, one of the coaches at Irvine Valley College, Coach Pesto, love him. He got back to me
Wow.
and he was like, "We really like you. Like, we want you to come here." And so I had my plans to come to the US in 2020, but then COVID happened.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
then the plans got delayed. So after my gap year, I didn't want to like, lose touch of studying too much. So I took an
Yeah.
American degree program at Inti Subang for a semester. And then in the fall of 2021, that's when I officially moved to the US and my journey to the US began then.
Wow. Wow, what a story. I have so many questions. That was wow. How did you get introduced to the game at age 10? And when you went to BJSS, like you would have had to be of a certain level to be admitted to BJSS. And then lastly, I this is just a funny question, but when you say beach volleyball, I all I think about is running on the sand and not being able to like be stable. And I really want to know how you guys do that. But yes, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of questions I know, but feel free to just go for it.
Yeah, I think I'll attack the last one first. Yes, so beach volleyball, it's very physically demanding because, even when you go to like a beach vacation and you're trying to walk on the sand, like even that itself, it's really tough. So the first year I started, there were a lot of growing pains. They were like, oh my gosh, I'm moving so
Ah,
slowly. I can't even get up from the sand. I can't even jump, can't even hit the ball. Um, but I grew to love the sport because I just felt like there was so much more freedom. And
mm,
you're outdoors, you're with your friends, you're laughing, and you can like dive here, dive there. It doesn't hurt as much as compared to indoor.
yeah.
And because it's on the sand, so your joints don't hurt as much because it's very soft landing on the sand. Indoor volleyball is more about like, just powering through and trying to hit as hard as you can. And of course, like, some smart plays here and there. But beach volleyball, it's just 2 people on the court. So you're always going to touch the ball no matter what. Indoor volleyball, there's 6 people on the court. So if a rally goes on
Oh,
for 30 seconds, there may be times where you don't even touch the ball. But beach volleyball, like you're
yeah.
always, always, always in action. So much more, your fitness level has to be way higher. You have to understand the game a lot better, and you need to be a smart player because when you look at it, like beach volleyball looks easy because you're like, wait, there's this empty spot there. Like just hit the ball there. But then when you're in the court and your vision is limited, and then there's the wind, there's the sun, there's the sand, like all of those factors added together, it makes it a very like fun challenge to tackle. So I think that's kind of why I fell in love with it, because there's the creative aspect of it.
I do have a point to make, and I think it's very impressive that you spent like all your childhood playing like indoor volleyball, but given the opportunity in that year, like you so quickly fell in love with it. And yeah, I mean, you were just sharing, you were so passionate about beach volleyball, and
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting that that could happen. And wow, I must say, really good of you.
I mean, I love being an athlete. I love sports. I love volleyball so much that I think something about myself that I'm starting to understand more is that I really enjoy mastering something. So
Yeah.
the pursuit of excellence itself is what makes it fun for me. So no matter what I'm doing, like even if it's drawing or like music, or when the process of going from zero to like knowing something and then knowing something a little bit more every day and then getting better and feeling yourself improve, like that's what excites me. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I love the results and I love winning and I love doing well, but I'm able to go day in and day out just working on something because I just like to work on it.
I know that feeling, and so that must have been like innate to you, because at age 10 you were introduced to volleyball and you just like really liked learning it. Is that how it came by?
Yeah, I would say so. And also, I had really, really good support from my mom.
Okay.
She never played volleyball in her life, but she took it upon herself to, like, come with me to my practices to watch what the coaches were doing. And then we would go home and then we would work on stuff on ourselves. I would play against the wall all the time. We would go to the park, we would practice, and then she would even organize practice with my teammates when we didn't have practice. So I think from her, I really learned like always going the extra mile and doing things that are outside of what is required of you to do to get to where you want to be, you know?
So did you grow up in the greater Kuala Lumpur area, or you're from out of state? And BJSS then is kind of like a boarding school for
Yeah,
you.
I grew up in PJ.
Oh, very nice. Me
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah, nice.
You mentioned that while you were in BJSS and you started to realize that it's not that easy to compete on the world stage, and you alluded to the fact that you didn't think the circumstances and the environment was really supportive for you,
Yeah.
or if I'm mistaken, please correct me, but do you mind sharing a little more?
Yeah, I can touch on that for sure. So to be clear, it wasn't BJSS that ruined my experience. It was the experience of being on the national team. So those were
Oh,
two different things. My time at BJ, I really enjoyed it. Like being able to be a student athlete, being able to stick to a schedule of go practicing at 6:30 a.m. and then class from
yeah.
9:30 to like 2:30, and then you're training again in the afternoon, and then you have night class. Like I loved that. And then I made so many friends from all over the
Nice.
country, and all of them were like super good athletes. It's just to be in that environment, like I enjoyed it so much. And then I learned so much more about Malaysia because you're mingling. I wasn't just
Yeah.
in my little PJKL Chinese school bubble. Like I got to meet so many other amazing people from all over the country. So I enjoyed my time at BJ. But when I got called to go for the national team, that I was only 16 years old. Like I was very young. And the
Okay.
reason why I was able to be on the team was actually because a lot of the senior players didn't want to play for a specific coach. So
Oh,
so then they called like a lot of the junior players, and I got thrown in the mix, and I was like, I'm Form 4 this year. I don't have SPM. I have nothing to lose. So I was like, why not just go for it? But it really opened my eyes to like mm, the internal politics, I would say, of
yeah.
being on a national team. And I don't know, like as a 16-year-old, when you had one expectation of something and then the reality was something else, like it really shatters you. Like it really, you know,
Yeah.
uh, it really, how do I say, like, it really disappointed me, to be honest. I mean, I
I
still,
see.
like, I was still very, very grateful. That was my first SEA Games experience, and to have it be in KL, like, that was so much fun. But then to see that, oh, if this is the way that it's gonna be, and if every year it's just gonna be the same cycle repeated again, then what is the point? Like, I might as well focus my time on building my own career and pursuing something that I know that can go up the ranks in future. So while I was at junior college in Irvine, I was so blessed to be coached by like the most amazing group of coaches. So our coaching staff, we literally had Misty May Trainer, who was a three-time Olympic gold medalist, on our coaching staff, and her dad, and Coach Pesto, Coach Rid, Coach Celso, who was Brazil Olympian. So Coach Pesto was like the head coach, and he just had his gang of like extreme high level coaches. And I like to be so lucky, like come from all across the world and to be, put in under their like mentorship like that. I truly like, I cannot even put into words like how lucky and blessed I was, because the next year they all retired, and that was their last year. They were done. Yeah. So anyway, through that year, like I had some challenges. I had some injuries and some like eligibility stuff. So I couldn't compete as much as I wanted to, but I still could attend practice every single day. And just being in that environment, seeing my coaches, how they view the game, how they teach the game, and their own experiences, like that got me so fired up, and I learned so much, and it really changed me as an athlete, as a volleyball player. So then after that year of playing at junior college, and then I transferred to Division 1 level, which is even more cutthroat, even high level. That's like you're playing against the best of the best girls in the whole country. And the US level is like very high level. I think, just long story short, like being in the US and playing Division 1 changed me as an athlete. Like I learned how to be way more competitive. I learned the importance of, recovery, nutrition, strength and conditioning, which is something that I don't think Malaysia sports does very well. We're not very good at that aspect. Like training plan, how to structure a training. And I think the big one of the biggest difference is the coaching. The coaches here are so knowledgeable. And I don't know, this maybe is like Asian style, teaching, parenting, how like Asian teachers kind of just like scold you and expect you to understand, and they kind of shame you for it. They're like, how come you don't understand this? Like, what? It's like a very like, they make you feel dumb. So you don't ask questions, you feel bad, and then you feel small, and then you don't play to your potential because you're always constantly being told that you're just not good enough. Like, why don't you understand this? Like, just do it like that. Like, it's so easy. Whereas in the US, they have a totally different approach. They show you how to do it, they explain it to you. And I think not only me, but I think everyone would benefit from an environment like that. So I think that's why, like, when I was here, I really just learned so much about the sport itself, and how to talk to athletes, how to teach the game and all. This is such a hard question, because there's so often I myself don't even, I find myself being so out of touch of Gen Z, because sometimes I look at the things that they, that circulate. I'm like, I don't even understand what is going on right now. Um, Let me see. Malaysians, Gen Z. Um, so much of Asian culture, we always do things that people expect of us to do, that society expects of us to do. And when I went back home last year and connected with my, friends since primary school, secondary school, it's so funny because like out of the whole group, there were probably like 4 or 5 accountants in the group, and then like 2 or 3 engineers. And I don't know, it's just like everyone was, you know, doing their office job, and then whenever they had free time, they would be socializing. And when, I went out to eat with them, they would be talking about like, oh, what they had to do for work, and whether they were stressed and stuff like that. So sometimes we kind of get really caught up in the cycle of life, and maybe we don't really pause and think, like, what do we actually want to do? Because I feel like my life is very unconventional, and I've been lucky enough to have the support of my parents to pursue this unconventional life. But it's also a life that I want to live, because I want to continue. I'm, first of all, I'm doing a degree in sports and performance psychology, which is pretty unheard of. And then secondly, like, I'm still on the path of, you know becoming an athlete, hoping to represent my national team. So for me, I have always just done what my heart wants to do. So okay, I like going a long way about this, but I think the advice that I would give is just like, stop, sometimes just stop and think, and like really ask yourself, like, is this what you want to do, or is this just what society expects of you to do, and that's why you're doing it? Because so many times it's like, that quote of like, you're climbing the ladder, but then you reach the top and then you realize it's the wrong ladder. So I think figuring that out at an earlier age will benefit you than, by the time you're 30, 40, you've earned a lot of money, but then you realize that you're just empty inside and you're not happy.
Yeah, and you need the space to actually figure that out. And I think one thing you mentioned was that you were really supported by your parents, your
Yeah.
mom, and so you have that like backing.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, there are people that maybe don't, and they just kind of have to go with what is expected of them.
Yeah.
And even like, I mean, not to, but they'll like marry the wrong person, just because
Yeah.
they're like 29, and it's like, oh,
Right.
like I've been dating this person for 3 years, like my parents like expect me to settle
Right.
down. And I think being in the United States has really taught me it really is the land of opportunities, because
Yeah.
people like, there's no real expectation of you. Like, people are always excited to know what you're up to, what you're doing. It's
Yeah.
like you don't have to be a doctor or engineer. So
Yeah.
I totally understand, but I think like if you try to tell that to people back home, it's for them it's like a foreign concept.
Yeah, it's a very different way of viewing the world. It's like you come here, and then I have college friends who are taking classes in like theater and drama, or like majoring in sign language. It's like,
Nice.
it's so fascinating, because in my Asian brain it's like, wait, but those are not real majors. But it's so wrong. That's like such a wrong way to think about it, because it is real, and there are a lot of people who do these things and do really well in life, but we've been so conditioned to think
Yeah.
that the only real jobs are being, a doctor, engineer, accountant. It's just such a different way of viewing life.
I have to admit that, I grew up with that kind of conditioning. That recently I had a fireside chat with a bunch of college students, and I shared with them that one of my biggest regrets from college was I didn't really care about general education classes. I kind of just found a way to get an easy A. So if like I found out that a general education class like art history or something was like the professor like gave out A's really easily,
Yeah.
I would just like take that class, although I didn't care about it.
Oh.
And the point was like, oh, I need to get better grades in my math and science classes for my major.
Yeah.
And now in hindsight, like I wish that I actually spent my GE credits to actually learn about history or
Yeah.
like politics or economics and like all these other social sciences that wasn't part of my major, because that is what makes me like wholesome.
Yeah.
And now like no one cares what grade I got in some math class. Like people
Yeah.
people want to like be able to have a conversation with me
Yeah.
and talk about the economy, and that's a really good attitude, Tasha. Really good. I mean, you're so like it really goes to show like your athleticism and all the academics. Like you're very you're very perceptive and matured. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
really nice to see that. You didn't really get to share about your Chindian heritage. I was
Oh,
wondering
yeah.
if there was anything you'd like to share from growing up, or maybe even moving to America and realizing something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, you don't
Yeah.
really think about it, because in Malaysia everyone is, different races. But I would say that growing up I did always feel a little out of place because I studied in Chinese school. So everyone is, fair skin, straight hair. So I did feel a little out of place growing up. I just felt, darker, my curly hair. Like, so many people tried to tame my hair. I remember this teacher
Oh.
when I was 8 years old. She was like your hair is so scary, and she said that in Chinese. Yeah, and
Oh my
I
God.
didn't understand what she meant, so I went back home and I told my mom, and my mom, she's the Chinese one, so she didn't know how to deal with the curly hair as well. So we went to the hairstylist, and for the next few years of my life, like, I had straight hair. Like,
No way.
yeah, like, I did rebonding like so often because no one knew how to deal with my hair. And it would be so weird, Yoshini, because my hair is curly, so it'd be like curly and then the straight hair. So then I always felt very like
Oh.
not confident in myself because I didn't like my hairstyle, and I was, a little pudgy, a little bigger size, bigger than everyone, taller. So I just felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. and
Oh man.
and then when I was finally like 13 or 14, I think, I was like, I don't like this straight hair. Like, it's just not me. It's so weird because the curly hair grows out and then the straight hair is still there. So I remember I cut off, like, went to the stylist and cut off my straight hair, but my curly hair was
Okay.
so short. So I had like a short curly bob. And
Okay.
even then, like, I felt so out of place. Like, people made fun of my hair. Like, growing up, I was actually very insecure about my looks because, yeah, I just didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel beautiful on the insides.
Oh man, I was going to say you're actually so pretty, and like
Uh,
I love your curly hair, by the way. I
Thank
love it.
you. Well,
Yeah.
it's taken a long time to get to this point, just so you know. Like, growing up, I was
Oh.
very just not, didn't feel that I was beautiful because I think I just compared myself to the people around me and I didn't look like anyone. So,
Yeah.
um
And it didn't help that the teachers also kind of perpetuated that.
yeah, and the crazy thing is that even when I was in secondary school, like when I was in Bukit Jalil Sports School, because it's a boarding school, so you walk around like with your hair down, maybe in night classes, whatever. And at this point, my curly hair had grown longer. Um, and like having curly hair, it's naturally more puffy because of the humidity, and
Yep.
it's just curly hair. Like, that's just what curly hair does. And teachers would be like, tie your hair, it's so messy, or like, oh my gosh, like, you have like a lion's mane or something like that. So then I just never ever felt confident with my hair or my looks because people around me just kept telling me to, like, tidy up and tie it up. And it wasn't only until, like, I got out of school where I, like, really began to appreciate my hair, because I'm like, wait, actually, no, not many people have like curly dark hair, and it's really cool. But I can proudly say that I love my hair right now, and I found a good way to take care of it. Um, but so the hair thing is one part. And then growing up, I was just closer to my Chinese side because I went to Chinese school. I wasn't very in touch with my Indian side. But now, coming to the States and um, realizing, it's so funny. It's because it's like once you leave, you realize like how much you actually had growing up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate. So then,
Yes.
because of that, like, it really drove me to like find out more about like uh the Indian side of me. So,
Yeah.
being in the States and then realizing that, wow, Malaysia is actually a very cool country. Like,
Yes.
which other part of the world are you going to get people speaking 3 to 4 languages in one sentence and everyone still understanding each other? Where are you going to get a country where you have the mosque, the church, the Buddhist temple, the Hindu temple all in one street and everyone still lives happily
In
together
in peace.
in
Yep.
peace? And then, like, I think one thing that really touched me whenever I go back is like when you go to like a mamak store or like, banana leaf, or and then you just see like people of different ethnicities all sitting together and eating. Like, you just don't really see that anywhere else.
I do agree. I
Yeah.
100% agree.
Especially not in
on
the US. Yeah.
Yeah, especially not here. And I like to tell Americans that I call it the lepak culture. You
Ah,
know, when I was growing up, you kind of look down upon it. You're like, oh, these
Yeah.
people are just like lepaking,
Yeah.
just like hanging out. My husband's American, and I introduced that to him, and I'm like, that is what you guys lack.
Yeah.
Because lepak culture is what keeps the community. That is the thing that I always try to like tell people.
You know what's crazy, Yoshini, is that they are starting to understand the importance of it, but they're having to pay for it.
How so?
So, like, have you heard of the talks about like third spaces are getting less and less?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the whole talk that's going on right now, right? But like, so to substitute for the third spaces, it's like, let's say like clubs or dog parks or I don't know, whatever it is, but it's like it's just so much more expensive to like hang out. I mean, of course you can
Yeah.
go to the beach.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just because the lepak culture is not something that happens naturally. It's like very manufactured here. Whereas in Malaysia, it's just like
Well said.
just lepak lah. Like like just
Yeah.
sit and chat and I
Yeah.
definitely I think deep inside there's a part of me that's still very Malaysian because
Same.
like funny story, like when I was in CSUN playing volleyball, our schedule is so busy. It's like you always have to bounce from one thing to another to another to another. So like we would have back to back practices, or like let's say we finish one practice and go to the other, and then you're done for the day, and then you have to prep for class. Me, the Malaysian in me, I'm always like, let's just sit for a while and like lepak a bit. Let's just like chat a bit or like stretch a bit or whatever. But everyone else is always just like, boom, like they're out of there, like instantly. Practice done, they're out of there, and I'm always just sitting there under the tree, like just sitting and stretching.
You're making me think about myself and like making me reflect. But like I go to like gym classes, and it's like small gym classes for like 15-20 people.
Yeah.
And I know all the instructors, and I'm literally what you described. I've become that American. I would like finish on a treadmill, like quickly get like the disinfectant wipe out the mat, everything. Bye, see you next week, and then just bounce.
Yeah.
And you're so right. Like in Malaysia, like I wouldn't be doing that.
Right.
I'd be hanging out and gossiping with the instructor.
Yeah, and when I really then I started to notice this pattern. I'm like, wait, I'm the only one who's always like sitting under the tree and stretching right now. So I was like, is this like a culture thing? Is this a me thing? And then I told you I went back home and played in the SEA Games last year, right? So before the SEA Games, we had like another tournament in Japan. And then it was just like 2 girls and 2 boys. So just the 4 of us. And literally like we had our own practice. And after we finished, like we were done. We were all just sitting there in a circle and we were like watching the other teams practice. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, it's a Malaysian thing. It's not a me thing. We just like to sit at that spot.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Tasha, this was great, but before I let you go, I have to ask you the golden question. I know you're still very young, very early in your journey, in your career, in just everything in life, and this is maybe going to be a difficult one, but I have to end with the golden question, which is, will you ever move back to Malaysia someday?
Oh, what a good one. The $1 million question, huh? I think at the back of my mind, I always do see myself eventually moving back and helping to grow youth sports in Malaysia, because because sports has given me so much, and to me it's only like responsible and right to give back to it, especially to the place where it started. And my experiences of being in the US has also taught me that it's not that we don't have talent, it's we don't have access and resources. So it's like now that I have been to the other side and seen what it takes to build and develop good athletes, how can I bring this knowledge back and help them? Help to grow youth sports athletes in Malaysia, because it's not that we don't have the talent, it's that we just don't have the tools. We don't know how to do it. So yeah, I think to answer your question, yes, I do see myself, maybe not in the near future, but when I'm older, when I'm wiser, when I have, more power and influence and financially able to, I think I do see myself going back and helping. But in the near future, I think this is where more opportunity is for me. So I
Yeah.
see myself progressing and growing here. I don't know.
Yeah, but a girl can always dream and have ambition. So yeah, I understand. I see a lot of yourself in me. Like, I mean, you're way ahead in terms of like wisdom. When I was your age, I was not thinking like that, but I definitely 100% relate to what you're saying, and what you said earlier about you realizing that it's not that Malaysians don't have the talent. I kind of felt sad a little bit because like it's so true, like we're so talented and we have so much to offer,
Yeah.
but for some reason, maybe with the resources and just the circumstances of
Yeah.
Malaysia, because it's a very young country,
Right.
but it's so true, like we have so much talent, and
Yeah.
it's a little sad that even I'm part of it, like, you know, we're all just leaving to go elsewhere because we want our talent to be appreciated, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
exactly.
I hope like a whole crop of us, like in the next 20, 30 years, like actually come back. And I plan to at least partner with organizations and
Yeah.
just really help like talented Malaysians.
Yeah, like I think one of the biggest things that being in the US taught me is who has access, who has resources, who is going to succeed.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
what it has shown me over the years of competing at Division 1. Like, because even Division 1 itself, it's already so high level, but then within that there's still the 0.1% of girls who grew up by the beach, grew up with a volleyball in their lap, and then they're just like years ahead. Their play is so mature because they had the access and resources. So then that really like opened my eyes to it. And then you have some of the world class coaching, and imagine getting that since you're 8 years old. Like, it makes sense that they do well when they're older, you know? And then another thing that I wanted to mention before we got off this, I think representation is so important.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I really, really, really think representation is so important. And this is also part of the reason why I I want to build my social media, because I want people to see that, oh hey, like she's Malaysian too, but she's doing all these cool things. If she can do it, then I can do it too. Because I think Malaysia, like you said, you know, we're a smaller country, we're a young country, and growing up, like you don't really see Malaysia being put on the
Yeah.
screen. You don't really see Malaysia being on the map.
Once again, I really thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so sorry about a lot of the technical
You're
issues.
fine.
Like now my face is flipped and whatnot, but we'll figure it out, and I'll put some disclaimers on the video
Yeah.
so that it's as long as people can hear you and see you, I think we're good. But Tasha, thank you so much. I hope to stay in touch. I wish you all the best. You are a rock star. And yeah, I will keep supporting you on your social media.
For sure. Thank you so much, Yoshni. I had a lot of fun. Take care.
Bye.